Costs $1.05.
That's reasonable.
Scuttlefield, join the chat room. I think every time I get little notifications like that, I'm just going to narrate them.
Please do.
No matter what anybody else is doing.
Okay, I'm going to delete the Razer Forge TV because it's a big piece of shit.
Spreadsheet line deleted.
Not a sponsor.
Z4V, I guess we can keep that.
Speaking of sponsor, I'm sitting here like I'm ready to go, and I have yet things to do. So we had how many voicemails? Did we have one or two?
We had emails too, didn't we?
We had one email, one voicemail.
Okay.
Okay. And the whole email is in there for me to read?
Yes.
And it is Apple Music, right, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Now I need to add the mid-roll thing. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I need to go turn on a computer next door. I was using a different computer. My laptop's back this week.
Oh, that's good.
Yay.
You get a new logic board?
I did. I paid for it with $300 I didn't have. So they may shut off my internet or my cell phone throughout the next week, but I have a new logic board, so I can use it to... Okay.
Do we want to talk about Cortana?
I know so little about it other than it's okay at best.
Yeah. That's kind of what I know about it.
Let's get rid of it.
I was hoping that at this point in time that everybody would be kind of over the whole digital assistant thing.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of one that is actually based around some kind of personality brand is really dumb. That strikes me as something that's going to be hopelessly dated in like 2 years.
Since I talked about Hound the last time I was on the show, I feel like I should follow up on air right now that since then I've tried to navigate to a place and it was not able to do that. And that was that was when I stopped using Hound.
I attempted to do one of the most basic voice command tasks humanly possible, and it was unable to do this.
Yeah, it's really good at like the two things they show in the video.
It was 2 or 3.
If you want to find hotels with exactly 19 parameters, then you're good to go. If you want to navigate to Walmart, no, you can't do that.
He's trying to save you from going to Walmart.
But if you want to stay in a hotel adjacent to a Walmart...
That's friendly to pets, and it's available Monday through Thursday for under $250. To be fair, I wasn't going to Walmart. I was only going to the Walmart parking lot. To help my sister whose car broke down. That sounds very suspicious.
That's where cars typically break down, is the Walmart parking lot.
I need to clarify that. I don't just go to parking lots for no reason.
Right, because that's where drug deals go down.
Yes.
Can we put the other one in the fridge?
I've heard that. You know, fun story. There was actually I was walking around E3 and Dare had a little stand where they were handing out pamphlets. I was like, Dare still exists?
Oh yes, no, they're still poisoning the youth with incorrect assertions.
Okay, I'm gonna close Fallout Shelter.
I'm not asking this from I think I know better than you, but what I seriously don't know what incorrect assertions Dare is throwing out. So could you clue me in?
They are basically scaremonger, and it's ineffective. Every analysis of Dare's ability to keep children from using drugs shows that it is, if anything, negative.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I did know that it was ineffective. I just wasn't sure if there was. I wasn't sure if there was like something specifically that they were saying like.
Well, they pretend that marijuana will like literally kill you.
Make your eyeballs pop out or something.
Yeah.
At first, I thought that David meant Dare Chocolate was handing out pamphlets, and I was like, that's
marijuana can kill you. You just usually have to have a compromised
Or like
cardiovascular system.
if a giant
If
bale
you
of marijuana
eat
fell
so
on you, I
much of
guess
it.
you could die.
What? What were you laughing at, Ryan? I didn't hear what he said.
Said
I
if
don't
a
know,
giant bale of marijuana fell on you.
Yes, that would kill you.
Perhaps.
That's the real danger of legalized marijuana, is that there will be so much of it that giant bales of it could just fall on you wherever you are.
I was just thinking if you eat massive amounts of it regularly, you could die from obesity. But
Good.
I don't think you would get very obese eating massive amounts of marijuana.
No,
It's
you
probably
would
actually not all that
probably
bad
just
for you.
have really uncomfortable bowel movements.
You would get obese because you get the munchies real
munchies
bad,
so much.
and then
There
you
you
just
go.
eat a bunch of stuff.
Death by munchies.
That doesn't
That's how
sound like
Elvis
a bad
died.
way to go. He was death by peanut butter and pickle sandwiches or banana sandwiches or something.
Okay, let me social us here real quick.
Okay. I did notice my computer, with all other hardware being exactly the same, is much snappier. So I think for the past several months that I've been complaining, my motherboard is probably, or logic board is probably taken some stress either due to heat or overwork or something.
Do you have a cooling pad for it, like a fan?
I do not. It's got pretty good airflow, and I since getting it back, I'm running a fan control software that
Okay.
will keep it running cooler. But it just means more, a little bit more ambient noise in the recording and in the live show.
Yeah, well, I think that's worth it if it extends the longevity.
I think so too.
Bob, I totally forgot to fill in the device updates, but there's one for you in there.
Which one?
The Galaxy Tab S.
Oh, you filled it in.
Well, I just now did. Like seconds ago.
Yeah.
Well, I finished seconds ago. I started about 25 minutes ago. That's how long it took me to write 3 names in there.
Sweet.
So
The weird thing is, I don't know why. Oh, are we?
Oh, I don't know. I was
Think so?
asking. I think we are. I mean, we can not do the show, I guess, if that's if
No,
we all
we can.
agree.
I'm cool with the show. Matt, would you like
Are
to
we-
do a show tonight?
Are we doing a pre-roll?
Oh yeah, shoot. That was
Yeah.
one thing why I turned on the other computer, and I keep forgetting. So thanks for reminding me. Let me get that sound bite, and then we'll be good to go. 1 second here.
Okay.
Where should we insert the line for the mid-show? I'm thinking between rumor and carrier.
I would say between carrier and hot sheet, because usually rumor and carrier, because in fact, you probably could do it right after Code Google, because if you look at how long these things are going to take, I would say that's probably about mid-show.
I don't know. I don't think most of the Code Google stuff is very long topics.
Okay, then rumor and carrier. Go with your gut instinct, Matt. You've only recorded over 200 podcasts.
Do.
Tickety-dee-do-do.
How many did we do on
About 60.
about 60? So we're up to about 120 or 225.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Only 50 to go, and I will have officially recorded more podcasts than I did install systems.
Wow.
And in significantly less time.
You go, girl.
I will. In
Wait,
fact,
you're not a girl. All right, hold on. Let me get this. I got to get it into the drop boxes. Copy.
I used Android Auto with the Galaxy S6 and the phone actually charged, so that was good.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
It only gained like 2%, but better than losing battery.
Yeah, it sounds like Hyundai is not putting enough power out through that USB port.
Yep, certainly seems like it.
Hyundai. Which is silly because they can really handle quite a bit.
They can. I don't know why they use low power ones. I'm guessing it's some stupid, dumb auto manufacturer reason.
What a bunch of dumb things.
Dumb auto manufacturer things.
Dumb things.
Just dumb auto manufacturer things.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought about that. But I am sad that it was David that thought about it too.
I do think about some pretty sad things.
What was I just gonna say?
You were gonna say, "I love you." Were you gonna say that?
Nope.
Oh.
Does anybody have a quick charger in their car? Do you guys have quick chargers in your car?
I don't.
I have the Android Auto thing in my car, so, but it charges better than the Hyundai thing apparently.
I do. It's called an alternator.
Because I have the tilt car charger thing, and I really love the idea of a quick charger in the car because that's like the perfect place for one.
Yeah, they sell them on Amazon for like $12.
Yeah, and I want to get one, but I don't want to get rid of my tilt, so I guess
I mean, you can technically just unplug the power from the tilt thing and then just like still use it as a holder and plug a physical cable in.
That's true. I'd have to put it in upside down too, though.
Now the tilt thing has the replacement bottom part that leaves the center
that's
of the
right.
bottom of the phone.
I don't know if I still have that though.
Well, that was terrible foresight on your part. So
Yeah, it was.
What is
All
this
your
little piece
fault,
of
Matt.
plastic? Whatever, throw that away.
You know, I usually keep things.
Although I think it's hilarious that HTC, for whatever stupid reason, puts the USB port slightly off center on the bottom of the phone, like it doesn't fit in any dock.
That's probably why, so that it doesn't fit in any dock, so you have to buy a special one. Do they have official docks? I don't even know.
Probably not.
I think they do. I think they have an official car dock.
I know they had one for like the M7 forever ago.
Because their phone has a car mode, and they're like quasi proud of it, I guess.
That if you use the M9 with Android Auto, that car mode thing pops up and like asserts itself and won't go away.
Oh man, well that would make me want to kill somebody.
Yeah, I disabled that app.
I think we're ready.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do this thing.
All right, should we all start with the simple thingy? So let me know when
Okay. We're recording now.
This week's Android Police podcast is brought to you by Simple Online Banking. Check them out at simple.com/AndroidPolice.
Welcome to the Android.
Do you want it louder?
You know,
That was weak!
Do you want it louder?
I'm pretty sure that like the moment came and I'm like, what am I doing? What?
It came. Do you want it louder?
Yes, please.
Let's do that.
That's what it was. I'm gonna blame that on it being too quiet.
Blame me.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, June 18th, 2015. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Ruddick.
I'm Liam Spradlin.
I'm Ryan Whitwam.
And I play Sounds Too Loud. My name is Bob Severance. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, did I come in like way too hot on that? Because
Just you're welcome.
just my welcome.
He's like, welcome
yeah,
to the Android
I was
Police
yelling.
Podcast.
I wanted to make sure everybody knew that they were.
They are welcome. You are very welcome here. Thank you for coming.
You're
We
getting everybody's
appreciate
attention.
you muchly.
It's like those annoying commercials that are louder than the show. You just wanted to get everybody's attention.
Yeah, that's my intro. That's the whole purpose, is to get people to turn down the volume so they don't hear the crap that comes after.
This car has Oscode AC that will set you free.
Have I told you about our great rates on car title loans?
I think we should probably start off with some Code Google. That was disturbing.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to start off with a couple of Nest announcements, some new products available for pre-order around the web. Starting off with the Nest Cam. So what's new there, Ryan?
Well, so this is the first camera that Nest has produced. This is obviously a product of the Dropcam acquisition last year. This leaked a week ago, and the final product looks pretty much like the leak. It's a $200 Wi-Fi security camera. It has a little adjustable stand. It comes with a wall mount. You put it somewhere in your house and plug it in, and it can stream video to your phone through the Nest app. You can use it for free if you don't need archived video, but if you do, then it costs either $100 a year or $300 a year, depending on if you want 10-day or 30-day video archives. So it's sort of the new version of the Dropcam. Let's see, it has B, G, and N Wi-Fi, no AC. It does 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, and it does up to 1080p video. So it's a fine camera. I think it doesn't have quite as many features as that FLIR FX that came out a few months ago, but I mean, the app is really cool, and it plugs into all of the other Nest stuff, which we will talk about momentarily. So it seems like a pretty good option if you want to do like a whole connected house thing.
Now, is that online backup the only backup, or can you do like
yeah, it doesn't. I don't think that it doesn't have like a local like SD card or anything. Like the FLIR FX has an SD card locally. Like if you want to save video to it directly, you can do that, even though it's kind of not super easy to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think that if you want to save the video from the Nest Cam at all, it's kind of like Dropcam in that you need to do the subscription.
That's kind of annoying.
Keep in mind, Google will...
That's the business model for these Wi-Fi cameras. That's just what I think everybody just agreed that that's what they do.
I want to sync to Google Plus. I'm sorry, Google Photos.
I was going to say Google will archive all of your video for free. You just won't have access to it.
I want my living room in the middle of the day to be auto-awesomed for no reason.
It'll just send you a little notification. Your auto-awesome living room is ready.
Once you get the Nest light bulbs and everything else, that your whole Nest will be Nestified.
Yes, and then in the wintertime, they will just like project snowflakes falling in my living room. It'll be great.
Auto-awesome my living room.
Yep.
I like it.
All right, so Nest also announced an update to their Nest Protect smoke alarm system. So what's new there, right?
So yes, this is the second gen one, and then the first gen one's still for sale. It's $20 less. So this one I think is $100. Same as the previous gen one was until now. It comes in both battery powered and outlet powered, sort of like wire powered versions, and they say that it won't have any more weird false alarms, which was a problem with the previous version. So this, just like the camera, plugs into the Nest app, and you'll be able to see, if anything in your house is trying to kill you with fumes or smoke.
But it still tells you when there really are things, just not when there aren't
supposedly. Things. I mean, I guess I guess you'd probably rather have false alarms than no alarms with something like this.
Right.
I mean, but I'm gonna guess actually most people probably wouldn't though. If you were to
then why even
exactly?
Pay
There's no point. I'm just
saying
saying most people, it seems the smoke detectors are one of those things. Like, yeah, I could save my life, but it's also horrendously annoying when it breaks to the extent that it might make me homicidal. How much violence has been inflicted upon smoke detectors through the history of humanity because of their annoyingness when they malfunction?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever thinks as they're burning to death that I want to sue the company that made that thing.
Well, I'm gonna guess they wouldn't. They actually would want to sue them if they were burning to death.
Yes, but
that would be a failure of the product.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they would want to.
I think what Matt's saying is that
they
they're probably
won't.
thinking, "Ow, that hurts! I'm burning to death."
Right. Geez, I feel bad for making light of that. That's.
Yeah, Matt. Real people do burn to death.
It's true.
We apologize if we offended any of you who are burning to death right now. I'm sorry.
That makes it all better. All right.
So we apologize for any conflagration, confusion.
All right, so let's talk about YouTube Gaming, which is a new site that they announced this week, and it's I guess like YouTube for gaming. Does that sound right,
It's like
Ryan?
Twitch.
Yeah, I mean it's Google's version of Twitch basically. So it's going to be a standalone product. They're using the YouTube brand, and then you'll be able to sort of take the stuff that you stream on YouTube Gaming and put it on YouTube later. But yeah, so there's going to be a YouTube Gaming app. There's like a landing page you can go to right now and play with this little heart widget. That's super cool. Everybody should do that, even if you have no interest in watching people play video games. But yeah, so it's going to have landing pages for like 25,000 games at launch. You'll be able to go there and see, different creators and streams that are showing off the game that you are presumably interested in. And they didn't provide like a ton of details about how it's going to work. I would assume because it's plugged into YouTube stuff that you'll be able to actually save your stream archives indefinitely. And that's something that Twitch did away with recently. Now I think they only save most things for like 60 days. Like you have to like cut them down into highlight reels if you want to save them longer than that. So I mean that might be a way that Google can entice some game streamers to come over and use their platform. But yeah, so this is going to launch at some point over the summer in the US and the UK initially, and then after that it will roll out elsewhere.
They will also eventually stream your game reactions straight from your Nest thermostat.
The story makes me feel so old and crotchety.
Yeah, I don't really understand this either, but
Yeah, it's a very millennial thing. I don't get it at all personally. Watching other people play video games.
I can't imagine thinking to myself, well, I could sit down and play video games, or I could watch somebody else play.
Okay, so here, what year do you have to be born in to be a millennial? Is there a hard
I don't
cutoff?
know. I think it's like 1990 plus, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe early 90s would be the cutoff.
Dumb kids.
I know my son enjoys. He probably has watched more video of people playing games than I've watched total video in my entire life. So.
My son is 5 and he watches videos of kids playing with toys. So, I mean, I guess it's basically the 5-year-old version of the same thing.
It's a live vicariously through somebody else type thing if you can't afford the game or get it. Or sometimes some of these people playing the games are rather humorous. So.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of like I get the appeal like in a general sort of abstract sense because like there have been times in my life where I've like sat around with people and watched them play a video game, but like I don't know, sitting down at a computer and watching a video stream of somebody I've never met play a video game just seems bizarre to me.
Yeah, I can't think of any time I've ever sat and watched somebody play a video game and not thought, is it my turn yet? Is it my
exactly.
turn yet?
It's deep down the rabbit hole of gaming culture, and I've been at E3 the last 3 days, and it's just how it is. Like it's I guess people have never been able to easily share this until the last few years, and now that they are able to easily share it, it's just become such an entertainment boom for the industry because they're able to share these things, like especially over the internet. Gaming is a social thing. It's always been a social thing for people who are really into it.
Yep.
The idea that you can then say, oh, look at what this awesome thing I did in this game is, and let me show it to you and everybody else on the internet because I think it's really cool and everybody should see it. I can understand it from that point, but cynical person in me says, I would never watch that. I don't care what you're doing in the game. But, teach their own.
Yeah, we're old, so don't listen to us, I guess. We're soon we'll be dead, and then the younger people will be able to keep doing their game watching thing.
Yes, especially if our smoke detectors don't work properly.
Like I imagine, myself streaming myself playing The Witcher 3, and I'm like, wow, that'd be really boring because I'm just like really tedious and explore every single thing in the game, and it takes forever.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I would be so stressed out if I had to stream something I was playing. I'm not good enough at video games anymore to do that.
I feel like I'm bad enough at video games that it could be entertaining to stream.
I guess if you're okay with no, you know what? I don't even think that would be acceptable because the internet is full of really just terrible people who would who wouldn't get in. They wouldn't get the joke. They would just think that you're terrible and they would harass you for it.
Terrible people on the internet. I've never heard of.
But whether they're harassing you or not, you're getting ad revenue potentially from them. So
it's true. Gotta love them ads.
That's right. Watch me, yell at me, comment. As long as you subscribe and keep watching me, I don't care.
All right, so next, Google was all about announcing things this week, apparently. Android security rewards was the next thing. Apparently, this is a way to a safer Android environment, right, David?
Yes, Google has been long famous for their bug bounties, and they're bringing that platform for security rewards over to Android. So if you can find a vulnerability affecting a Nexus device or the larger Android platform, something that is not, I don't know if you can report bugs specific to non-Google devices unless they are related to the Android platform itself. But the idea is you get money for reporting your vulnerabilities, which it will probably be a lot of roots are going to get fixed here pretty soon. So I'm sure everybody's going to be super happy about that.
Well, but the question is if somebody can make more money selling the root exploit to like a security firm than they can make from Google.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A security firm, perhaps. I thought you were going to say the community.
No. The community doesn't actually pay those bounties. Everybody, that's a thing people should know. Those bounties are bunk.
Those bounties are bunk. Maybe an episode title.
Okay.
All right, so next on the announcement sheet this week, Google has released, well, I guess it's a release, not an announcement. I stand corrected. The Topeka demo project, which that was something we heard about. That was back at Google I/O, so it's just now hitting light, right, Liam?
So last year, Google published Topeka on the web, which is kind of like a polymer material design site, and they open sourced it so everybody could see how it was built and learn some things for their own site. And this week they released an Android app that's Topeka for Android, and that's open source as well. And it uses the new design support library and everything, so you can see all the awesome little tricks that they did.
Cool.
Nice.
Sounds like fun.
All right, and next isn't so much an announcement as it is a retraction. Apparently that Stars bookmark manager that we've talked about on the show on a number of occasions just didn't really go over that well, so it's going to go away, right, Liam?
Yeah, Google said that basically users didn't like it, which we kind of already knew. I think the major complaints were that it was too visual. The information was not presented in a way that you want a list of bookmarks to be presented in some cases. So Google said that they would take it back, and they did. It is no longer turned on by default on Chrome for Android, but you can get it back by toggling a flag. And it is also removed from Chrome for desktop, but you can get it back by installing a separate extension.
Yeah, that manager would not have been so bad, except that like everything just had a placeholder image because it didn't know how to pull anything relevant from the pages.
And even if it did, I question the value of having that.
Having like a screenshot of a page isn't like a bad thing necessarily. Like if it can be somehow useful to you, but all of the the images were like really big. I don't usually like to complain about low information density, but this was super low.
Yeah, I question in what instance that image would actually be useful to a person, unless you could identify the site, I guess, more quickly that way. But still, it took up as much or more space than the actual title of the site. So, okay, looking at it now, the picture is like 2/3 of the space. So that seems like a lot.
Yeah, I don't. It's one of those things like, oh, you see it and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, but then you actually try to use it and like, oh, no, not really. Never mind.
What's the worst is when it gets the sign into McDonald's Wi-Fi as the screenshot of the page. Because I've had stuff like that happen a lot, and it takes forever for it to ever get away from that. Usually I end up deleting it from there and then adding it back in just to get rid of the connect to random Wi-Fi.
The screenshot is not bad at all. What's bad is that it reminds you that you ate at McDonald's.
It's true. It's true. It's shameful.
Don't do that.
It is.
All right, so next on the agenda, we've got some new stuff in Google Play. Starting off with a free app of the week, which, man, why has this just now come into existence? I realize the app of the day from Amazon's might be a little bit excessive, but free app of the day on the Play Store, or free app of the week on the Play Store, I should say. What's up?
I think there was probably some deep philosophical wrangling that occurred before Google decided to allow this, because on the Play Store you can never take an app to free and bring it back to paid. Once you're free forever.
And that's annoying.
And that is a deep-rooted, like, 10 Commandments level philosophy of the Play Store. And I'm guessing somebody on the marketing and sales team finally said, basically went around somebody's back and tried to say that, we want to do the free app thing. I don't care what people who manage the Play Store say. And they got a sign off from somebody who said, do it. And then they did it. So there are going to be free apps of the week now. We don't know how often it'll happen. Maybe weekly, maybe not. But
well, how often do they do the free albums on Play Music?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's
of the
sporadic.
week at the end.
Yeah, I think it's just a free album of whenever. So yeah, I'm gonna guess they're probably testing this to see how the engagement goes. It's a success for Amazon because the idea for developers is that you can raise your rank in search results and basically get surfaced better by increasing your download numbers.
Sure.
Which it's kind of a deal with the devil.
Yeah, and actually, if you look, the app that they did this with, it was a PBS Kids app, and if you go to the top paid apps right now, it's number 2 on the top paid apps.
All apps?
Of all top paid apps. It's right behind. It is right behind Minecraft Pocket.
And this is why this is dumb, but or why the way Google surfaces things in the Play Store is dumb.
This obviously this free app thing is not properly integrated with any of their search algorithms or ranking or anything, but I really wish that there was a way for developers to make things free and then go back to paid, because free app promotions are awesome.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I like the idea too, and well, we'll see what happens, I guess. But yeah, the first one is a PBS app for kids. So you can check it out if you want to do that. Is it still free?
It's back to now. It says $2.99 again.
Never mind, I lied. I don't know why we even told this story. I just told you all about a free app you can't get. Sucks.
I don't know how long it was free, but now it's in the top paid apps list right now, and it says $2.99. So.
You know what's really depressing is the fact that I just went there to check to see what the app was, and it said purchased next to it.
Well. It's what happens when you have kids.
Yeah, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Just
End of make believe, Matt. Won't you ride along with me?
Mm-hmm. I will. All right. So next is a Google app, an official first-party app that is now on the Play Store, and it's the clock. So if you need a clock, you can have one.
Yep. If you need a clock app and you do not have the stock Android clock app already, then you can download it from the Play Store. Or, so this version that's on the Play Store is the same version that's on the M Preview. So there's a couple of little new features, like starting the week on a different day, if you're into that kind of thing. So you can get it from the Play Store.
Now, if you had it on your phone, if you had a Nexus device, did it automatically update?
I don't think this was an update.
No. Yeah, because
so it's a different package name than the clock on a Nexus device right now.
No, I think it's
just the current app. Yeah,
right.
It's just the same app.
Wait, but I thought it was the M version.
I don't think
Is
the
that
clock.
not what
I'm running.
what we just said?
I'm running the M Preview already, so mine did not update. But
if that's
pretty
the
sure
case,
that it is on M.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody turn on a Nexus device.
I'm looking
mine
on
is
my
running
Nexus
M as
tab.
well.
Hold on.
At any rate, I'm looking forward to see what they do with this. If they actually update it often. I have to think Google has a habit of sticking reminders in a lot of their Play Store apps now. I'm looking.
The clock
I
is
wonder
ticking.
if the clock will have
Okay,
reminders.
so I just looked it up on my Nexus 10, and it says there's an update available. So
Well, there we go.
There you go.
it is the same. It is the same package as what came pre-installed, apparently.
Okay, but I think does the update
updated.
actually add anything? I don't.
If
Oh,
you're
it's
not
just
running,
those tiny things from the M Preview, right?
right.
Okay.
It adds snooze or dismiss alarms from your Android Wear watch.
None of that's new. So the
I
change
know
log is
it
wrong.
is because it says what's new, and then that's what's written there.
Well, it's
So
not new, and
obviously
they're a
it's
bunch
new.
of liars who lie.
You know, it would be nice if they're going to put this in the Play Store, they could just like integrate some of like the timely alarm syncing between devices.
Right.
Because-
Yeah,
was
I can't
messing with
believe
the
that
exact
that's
same
not a
thing.
thing.
They had the alarm syncing like Timely did.
And that's why I still use Timely, because like the way it works is just so slick and it's great.
Google just kind of absorbed them, and they like went into the ether somewhere.
So, well, they've
Disappeared.
updated Timely like twice since that happened.
Yeah,
So it still works.
I think that the new calendar, like the material design calendar, I think the code name for that was Timely before, but I don't know if they had anything to do with it.
I feel like Google's just like they're like on a figurative ledge, overlooking the crowds using the clock app. Should we add cloud synced alarms? Not yet.
Can they at least add those cool number animations from Timely? Can we at least have that?
No, probably not. That's way too flashy.
I used my tablet as my alarm clock, and I left it somewhere one time and was able to turn it off through Timely, and it was the most amazing thing ever. But then I got rid of Timely and used the stock Android app, and then I couldn't do that anymore. And then Bob had to listen to my alarm one morning.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's
All right,
Google
so,
ruining lives.
Next, let's talk about Maps, because there was an update to Maps this week that brought a, I don't know, I think it's a pretty cool feature. David?
Yeah, so if you are navigating to a place and that place has hours listed in Google Maps and it's past the hours that are listed in Maps or before, Google Maps is going to be all like, hey, that place is closed, Are you sure? You still want to go there? It's closed.
I wish it would say it like that. I
That
wish it would be like,
nice.
are you sure you want to go there? It's closed, I'm just saying.
But remember, Google Maps has a propensity to contain wildly inaccurate information at times. So this could be an annoyance depending on if you navigate to a place regularly that has inaccurate hours listed, which definitely does happen in Maps.
Well, the good news is, because it is Google Maps and not Apple Maps, at least the hours are inaccurate, but you'll get there.
It's true. You will.
So it's got that bonus. All right, let's move on to the rumor roundup.
It's time for the rumor roundup.
I think the answer to Wade County's question in the chat room is you wouldn't. Just gonna throw that out there. Just don't. All right, so rumor roundup. We're gonna start off with BlackBerry rumors, because why not? This is an Android podcast. Let's talk about BlackBerry.
Okay.
And well, actually, it's actually pretty relevant, right, David?
Yeah, so there's a rumor that BlackBerry is considering an Android-powered phone with slide-out keyboard. Okay. I mean, it's probably going to be terrible if they do this, but at least it'll be interesting, and who knows what carrier. I guess it'll come to Verizon and T-Mobile probably, maybe Sprint, and it'll probably be very sad, but maybe it won't be, but it probably will be. If they even do this.
There are like 20 people on the internet who scream every time you say that keyboarded phones are dead. So, I mean, those 20 people are definitely going to buy this. If it
They will,
exists.
because they're still using their T-Mobile G2s.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna throw this out there. I am not someone who has any interest in buying a keyboard phone. However, I can tell you, having used BlackBerry devices in the past, that their keyboards tend to be much better than any other ones I've ever used.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a physical portrait keyboard on a phone, BlackBerries are really good at that. But I question how many people actually want that now.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. They're very good at it, but I don't think anybody wants it.
Software keyboards have come so far that the advantage of hardware
Really,
keyboard
like,
pretty much just personal comfort.
I feel like I am probably faster with swipe input on the stock Google keyboard than I was on the physical keyboard for the G2.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's going to be a market for it, but the market is dying. I mean, literally, people in the age bracket are probably So
This is a really morbid show. We're talking about people
Yeah.
on fire and dying
poor
of old
BlackBerry.
age.
It's actually I don't really care about BlackBerry because their CEO seems like kind of a major asshole. So it's
I think that's actually their theme. I mean, they
yeah,
they
it
have
really
that.
seems to be BlackBerry, just an endless series of dicks. It does seem to be
Episode
what they
title.
do over there.
Yeah, sure.
All right, and lastly, in the rumor roundup, not necessarily a rumor because it's confirmed, but just about everything other than the processor in the new OnePlus phone is a rumor, so it can stay here, I suppose. So the processor, not a rumor.
Yeah, the OnePlus 2 is so hot right now, because it's going to run a Snapdragon 810, which everybody is losing their minds about, because that is of course the processor in the M9 and the G Flex 2 and the Xperia Z4 that has been super hot and tends to throttle aggressively, and sometimes even the high power cores have to shut off because they just get too warm. It has not been an ideal chip. But OnePlus says that they have figured out how to make it run cooler, so they're going to clock it down to 1.8 gigahertz, and supposedly the physical design of the phone will dissipate heat better, so they say. And of course, like after they announced this, everybody sort of started snarking about it. So OnePlus posted another forum post with a really kind of ridiculous image of them looking unhappy, and I think the caption was "We are mad." They were just complaining that everybody was, talking about how the A10 was going to be hot. But, I mean, what else do we have to go on except that every phone that runs that chip so far has been hot?
Yeah, so the G Flex 2 maxes out at 1.6 gigahertz, and it's kind of like it's better than it used to be. When they updated Android 5.1, it got a lot better, but it's still just repetitive CPU stress just makes that thing buckle immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was people did tests on, I think, the M9 with stressing the CPU, and they were able to track, I think it was maybe Ars Technica, they tracked like how often the Cortex A57 cores had to just shut off completely because they were so warm, and then it kicks down to the A53s, which aren't really built for that kind of activity.
Yeah. That's essentially on the G Flex 2 for more than like a minute of intensive computing. It just goes to the A53s and won't let you go back until the phone cools down again.
Yeah, so I mean, so OnePlus is saying that they're going to start it at 1.8, which I guess, I mean, maybe, but I guess that means that maybe it'll run even slower than that in all honesty.
I think the other thing it's going to come down to how fast is the internal storage, how fast is the RAM, how much RAM is there going to be? Probably 4 gigabytes, I assume, because they really seem to care about that kind of thing. And then the level of optimization they're willing to do with, Qualcomm likes them as a partner right now because they're small and easy to control, and they're willing to be what's a PC word for this? A sort of receptacle for Qualcomm's marketing, shall we say, manure. So maybe they may work with OnePlus a lot to try to optimize performance, and they may end up with something okay in the process, but we shall see.
Yeah, I should also just point out I'm using an M9 right now, and I'm trying to see how fast I can get the clock speed to go, and it's topping out at 1.6 gigahertz. So
yeah, the patch they issued shortly after release pretty much capped the A57s outside of benchmarking apps and video games.
Yeah, so I mean, if OnePlus says they're going to start at 1.8, like, I just don't know if I believe that.
You're going to drop it like it's hot.
Ooh.
You're going to drop it because it's hot. That was the joke. Sorry.
I get it.
All right, well, I think it's time for a word from our sponsor. Hey, I think it's time we give a little love to our sponsor. What do you guys think?
It is. So this week's sponsor is Simple, which is online banking, and two of us on the Android Police podcast, or at least two of us use Simple, but one of them is me and the other is Cameron. He's been using it a lot longer. He's also more likable as a person. So, Cam, tell us why you use Simple.
Actually, I really like goals, That's my favorite feature of Simple. It basically lets you take your money and move it into it's almost like having multiple savings accounts inside of your primary checking account. It doesn't physically move the money, obviously. It just helps you to break it down a lot easier and save or set money back for bills that need to be paid, or I mean, just it's really, really flexible, really robust, very easily my favorite feature of Simple.
Awesome. So how many of your Simple goals have been guitars?
I actually have one goal that is just called guitar stuff, and every time I sell something music related, all the money I get from it goes into the guitar stuff goal, so I can continue to buy more guitar stuff.
Neat. So what about safe to spend? I'm not really super familiar with that one.
Safe to spend it kind of goes hand in hand with goals, because all the money that you don't have in a goal goes into your safe to spend, so you can easily just look at it and see how much money you have that is safe to spend. Super convenient feature, and alongside goals, probably my other favorite thing about Simple.
Yeah, Simple actually is pretty awesome, and if you want to support the podcast and check out Simple, you can go to simple.com/AndroidPolice and read what Cam has to say, read what their developer has to say about the Android app, and try to sign up for Simple if you want to give it a try, because it actually is an awesome service.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, where'd Cameron go?
I know, it's so weird. But yeah, Simple actually updated the app this week, and the update looks.
They did.
Cool.
They got a little material-y.
Yeah.
We will actually have one of Simple's engineers on next month to talk about the update and what kind of changes they made. So
Awesome.
Sweet.
All right, let's move on to Carrier 411.
Carrier 411.
All right, this is the worst rumor that I've heard in a long time. I'm really sad. I don't know if I can even... So apparently, T-Mobile could potentially be sold to the worst company on the planet?
shut your mouth.
Well, no, there was an article that said it's proven.
So, yeah, the rumor is, to clarify, worst company on earth, that T-Mobile could maybe be acquired by Comcast, which would upset pretty much everybody who's not a Comcast shareholder or a T-Mobile shareholder. So obviously, T-Mobile's parent company, Deutsche Telekom, has been really anxious to unload T-Mobile for many years. There was, of course, that failed AT&T merger a while back that resulted in T-Mobile getting a bunch of money in spectrum, which was actually pretty all right for them. And then there have been ongoing rumors that they were going to merge with Sprint, and then that didn't happen. Then there have been ongoing rumors about Dish, and that hasn't happened yet. And so now Comcast is the latest rumor. This is all, unconfirmed, of course. We don't know that it's true. And in fact, Ars Technica has said that they talked to people at Comcast and said that who said that they are not interested in buying T-Mobile. But I mean, who knows if they're, aware of
Comcast
what's
is
going
just
on.
playing hard to take, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like Comcast, they got their Time Warner merger shot down, so they're not happy about that. T-Mobile, they could probably swing because it's it's a different industry, sort of, more or less, mobile broadband versus what they do. So they probably feel like they could get that one through regulators, but I don't know. It seems like T-Mobile's advantage these last couple of years has been goodwill. Everybody just likes the things that T-Mobile's doing, and I wonder if that would survive a merger with Comcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess. Well, it's hard to say because the thing I would say that's different about cable and landline ISP and wireless ISP and voice is that the national carriers for wireless are national. They compete in different markets, whereas the cable providers, they have like this little feudal lord system of we control this township and we control this part of the city, and they have like little battles over like 2 blocks of the city where they actually do compete, and then everybody on that block gets like basically free internet. But otherwise they don't compete at all, and there'd be no reason to buy a carrier and then proceed to be non-competitive, because being non-competitive is actually generally unprofitable in the wireless industry unless you are AT&T or Verizon and are making money hand over fist by placing your fist in your customers' bank accounts. We'll say.
To be fair, though, Verizon and AT&T are just competitive in different ways.
They just compete with each other, sort of, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. But AT&T, Verizon, they do the gerrymandering for rural coverage, where Verizon works in one area and AT&T doesn't. Whereas T-Mobile and Sprint have to, they got to take what they can get.
So does Comcast have wireless licenses?
I don't know, but they have an agreement with Verizon, obviously, as Ars Technica said, about the hotspot agreements and sharing some stuff. But I don't know if Comcast actually holds it. I think they did, and they might have sold it.
Because I could see, I could see this making a lot more sense if Comcast was just holding a bunch of licenses to Spectrum. That would make a lot of sense for T-Mobile's network expansion. But
I was actually thinking that the agreement that they have with Verizon involved a swapping of spectrum.
That's possible. Yeah, maybe that is true. I personally am not super familiar with it.
I guess that doesn't necessarily mean that Comcast doesn't have any left, but I'm pretty sure they did exchange some with Verizon. So, all right. Next, AT&T. Well, they're getting a little bit of bad news from the FCC this week. So what's going on there, Ryan?
So AT&T has been hit with the largest fine the FCC has ever levied. $100 million they are being fined because of their practices throttling unlimited data subscribers. So this dates back to around 2011 when AT&T decided they weren't going to offer regular unlimited data plans anymore. They moved to the capped system. They allowed people to keep their grandfathered unlimited plans. However, when people got to between 3 and 5 gigabytes, they would start throttling them down to a few hundred kilobits, which is really too slow for streaming video. It can even be bad for audio if you have an inconsistent connection. So people were not happy, and they complained, and the FCC investigated, and now the FCC has determined that what AT&T was doing was misleading to consumers. And of course, AT&T disagrees with this. Their assertion is that the FCC has said that throttling is an acceptable way to manage your network. However, I think the distinction in this case is that the people who signed up for these unlimited plans, they signed up for actually unlimited data without anywhere in the terms and conditions AT&T saying, oh, by the way, we'll throttle you when you hit X number of gigabytes. Usually with these sort of unlimited plans that are offered now, there's somewhere in the terms, if you hit however many gigabytes, you will be throttled down to some slower speed, but it's still technically unlimited. I don't think that sort of clause was anywhere in the stuff that people agreed to when they got these old plans.
Well, the FCC has said that, hey, if you're going to market as unlimited, you have to make it clear in the marketing materials that it's unlimited high-speed data it's high-speed data for a certain number of gigabytes, and then unlimited after that.
Yeah, that's why a lot of plans now say unlimited data, and then in smaller font, X gigabytes of high-speed data.
Because all the radio spots I've heard lately for AT&T now mention that you get high-speed data and then you get the low-speed data, and they even go and they say how many kilobits it is. I actually think the ad's inaccurate because they say it in kilobytes. They say 500 kilobytes a second, and I'm like, I don't think that's actually that's not true.
That's 8 times too much.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, but AT&T not happy. Lots of money has to be paid.
I'm sure they'll mustache noticeably furrowed.
Yeah, consumers will see none of that though. That money all goes to the U.S. Treasury.
Which, I guess it's fine that they find them, but what was AT&T's yearly profits for fiscal year 2015? Something like 3 or 4 billion.
Some huge number.
Yeah, it's a chunk, but investors are like, I guess.
All right, let's move on to the hot sheet.
Hot sheet.
All right, so the Sony Xperia Z4 apparently is going to be coming stateside in the way of a new Verizon variant with a different name, because why not? So Ryan, what do we know about the Verizon Z4V?
So it is a slightly tweaked version of the Z4, Z3 Plus, whatever that they're selling overseas. So it's still a 5.2-inch screen, but it is 1440p instead of 1080p. It has a slightly bigger battery, still the same 20 megapixel Sony camera they've been using for years, and it will have a Snapdragon 810, just like the Z4 and Z3 Plus. So presumably it's going to get really hot and catch fire. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out how they've managed the heat issue with that. The Z4 is the phone that showed up in Japanese carrier stores a week or two ago with the warning signs about it being too hot. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how that works out. But this phone also is going to have some sort of PlayStation tie-ins. I guess you'll be able to stream PS4 games to the phone in some capacity, and I guess control it with like a PS4 DualShock controller.
Stream games to a phone. Like, I mean, I understand the game streaming thing being desirable, but on a phone just sounds so bad.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
The last Xperia phones did this too. They did it with the PS. Well, it was PS4 too. I think this already exists.
yeah, I mean, I feel like I'd heard something about that. I didn't know if it was the PS4, but I mean, this is apparently going to be some angle that they're gonna push this phone in the marketing with like gaming stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe with this chip, you shouldn't be doing that, but I guess we'll find out.
Why should taking a poop stop your gaming experience?
It's if only Sony sold some sort of handheld portable console device that was highly popular and selling by the million.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know, didn't they learn their lesson with that one that had the slide-out keyboard? The Xperia
the
Play?
Xperia Play.
Xperia Play. That was just a fantastically weird phone. I love that exists.
Yeah, it's one of those things where in an alternate universe where mobile gaming wasn't largely a catastrophe, it would have been a good idea.
If only it had a BlackBerry keyboard.
That's right. Everything's better with a BlackBerry keyboard. Okay, it's not. That's a total lie.
It's a good
All right.
lie.
All right, so let's move on to the Segas V Squared, which may launch at some point in time, but I think it's becoming more and more unclear as to what point in time that is, right?
Yeah, I think somebody asked us a question about this phone a couple weeks back on the podcast, and we basically said, like, look, it's really hard to build phones, and this is probably going to be not super good. And so, indeed, it looks like Sega's has delayed this phone yet again. They don't have a firm ship date. They say sometime this fall it's going to actually come out. And at the same time, they said, oh, by the way, here is an Indiegogo campaign with a suspiciously large number of donors. So yeah, when this launched, they had like $800,000 out of the million that they were looking for. And you could check the list of funders and see that there were about 1,400 anonymous contributions that were added 2 days before the campaign went live. So it's pretty obvious at that point that Sega just was allowed by the Indiegogo staff to include all of their pre-orders in the campaign. So it looks like it's a super popular campaign right out of the gate, which is at the very least really, really shady. And at worst, it's just misleading and should make you question whether or not this phone will even be a thing.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I were to see an Indiegogo campaign for $1 million, and it said that there was $850,000 raised already, I would look at that completely different than looking at an Indiegogo campaign for $150,000 where nothing had been donated yet.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this was done because it looks a lot better.
It looks so much better.
And it's just really lame that Indiegogo let them do that. And I haven't looked at the campaign.
It's at 996,000.
It's yeah, they were going to make the million, like, obviously, but so yeah, and they also have said that they are going to launch this thing with Android 5.1 now, and it has a second SIM slot, and there was something else that they said they were adding. I forget what, but USB Type-C it's going to have supposedly. But people who pre-ordered apparently will get their phones before the Indiegogo backers. I guess those are being assembled.
So What I want to know is how you can make a phone profitably if you are only selling about 1,600 of them.
I don't think I don't think that they could possibly do it. I don't
I
see.
think it's a complete fancy. It's a fiction. It
Yeah,
can't be
I mean,
done.
and it's not a cheap phone either. I mean, it's a $600 phone.
Yeah, I read the Reddit thread where some guy claimed he went to the Sega's office
Oh yeah,
in
I
Salt
read
Lake
that too.
City, and I'm not saying it's fake, but at the same time, some people are really good at talking to people and making them believe things just by saying them, and these guys may have the best intentions, but don't buy this. It's a terrible idea to buy this phone unless you literally just have the money to waste.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it is a waste
this
of money.
this phone really appeals to a very specific subset of human beings who require almost half a terabyte of storage in a phone. Like if you need multiple SD card slots and and wireless, whatever wireless HD video thing they're working on, like I guess maybe this sounds like a really cool phone, but you're relying on this kind of completely unknown company to build something that they can then properly support going forward. I mean, even if it comes out and is okay, do you trust them to update it?
Yeah, and I mean 1,500 phones. That's like a test production run for even a moderately sized manufacturer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even if this does come out somewhat on time, they're going to almost immediately announce the next version of the phone.
Oh, of course.
And that's what they're going to work on for the next year, and that they might actually have a real production run of.
And then they'll avoid the obviously huge number of software bugs this phone is going to have, which is just a guarantee. There's no way you can QA the software on something like this effectively without a scale to test. And of course, they can't test at any scale because they have no previous users and they're a tiny company.
Yeah, it's super shady, weird stuff going on. Don't buy it.
Hey, speaking of weird stuff going on, so the free app of the week we were talking about earlier, it's still there. It's just a different app now.
Oh, is it?
It is now Toka Hair Salon 2.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, that is a rapid downturn in the quality of the free app of the week. So, RIP, 3 app of the week.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I heard the first Toka Hair Salon was great, so I'm glad they
It was
made a sequel.
great fun, Matthew.
It was, but the other thing is that apparently even if you go directly to that app on the Play Store and look at it, it still shows $2.99. You have to go to the category for family and click on the free app of the week to get the
Slight
free price.
disclaimer: it does not actually style your hair.
It does not.
At all.
Not at all.
Slight disclaimer.
It is a hairstyling lifestyle RPG.
It's not even really lifestyle. The characters are all funny colors and stuff, so that's not real life. People aren't different colors.
Okay, so
Unless they're burning to death.
all right. So as David indicated, it looks like there's a chance that they might iterate this device pretty quick and ignore bugs on the current version once it comes out. But luckily for LG G4 owners, they're not doing that. They're paying attention to your bugs and hoping to get them fixed. Well, pretty soon, I would imagine. It includes the interesting little touchscreen bug on the G4, right, David?
Yeah, so if you got a G4, an American one on Verizon, T-Mobile, or AT&T, and possibly even Sprint, there's an issue going around. So if you have a G4 and you've been using it and you think, I feel like the touchscreen isn't getting all my presses sometimes, or it's like you're trying to use the touchscreen and suddenly it freezes up and it's like it's not responding to you, that's a problem. It shouldn't be doing that, and it is a known bug. LG is looking into it. I've told them as well. I've been speaking with them directly, and they're looking into it on all American versions of the phone. At this time, it's not known if it is hardware or software or both. They just don't know. They're still trying to reproduce it. They can't reproduce it on any international model of the phone, which suggests that either all the U.S. phones got a bad component from a single supplier that wasn't used in other regions, or that the U.S. versions of the firmware have a bug that the international versions do not. But again, it's not clear. Anybody telling you it's one or the other is speculating at this point, because even LG doesn't know what's up. So they're looking into it, and hopefully it will be fixable. The one thing I would say is that people who say they're returning their phone and having the problem, there is a mixed rate of success upon receiving a new device. A lot of people seem to say, nope, it's not fixed on the new one, but some people say it is. So it's just really not clear what the problem is. It's possible we've got maybe 2 different suppliers for a given component, and that if you get a phone with supplier A, the problem isn't there, and if you get a phone with supplier B, the problem is, and that the problem with supplier B's device has been fixed on international firmware, but not on US. It could be a number of things, and we're waiting to hear back from LG for more on that.
Life's good for other people.
Yeah, but not HTC Blink feed users.
Why not, Matt?
Well, because you now have ads. Ads everywhere.
You close your eyes for 1 second. All you do is blink, and then there are ads.
There are ads in your feed.
There are. That is actually it's actually live. I just saw one a little bit ago. So yeah, in Blink feed now there are ads. They say right in the bottom corner there it says sponsored, and it's like an app or a product. The one that I saw was for Puzzles and Dragons, or Dragon Puzzles, or whatever that game is. There's
probably one of each.
That's sure. That's a thing now. If you go into the settings for Blink feed, there is a new option there for ad preferences, and you can turn that off. So the opt-out that they promised is there, but I think a lot of people are still sort of upset about the stock home screen for the phone that they just spent however many hundreds of dollars on having ads in it. This is the experience that HTC is pushing, and they've decided to put ads in it. I think that feels a little different to people than an app that has ads in it that just sort of comes bundled with the phone, or that you download from the Play Store. So they're not super annoying ads. They're sort of they have the right formatting and everything. They look like they're part of Blink feed. It's not like a banner that like falls down in front of you while you're scrolling through stories. So it could be worse, but I'm sure people are going to turn this off.
So I guess you could say that the stock home screen has Stockholm syndrome.
Sure, you can say that if you want.
I don't get that.
All right, so lastly, some device availability news to announce with the S6 Active, right, David?
Yes, so the Galaxy S6 Active is on AT&T, and only AT&T, because AT&T likes lifestyle phones, which is like one of those things you utter in a dark alley. Lifestyle phones. Lifestyle phones are really weird to me, but people do want them, especially ruggedized ones. The Galaxy S6 Active comes in gray, tasteless camo blue, and tasteless camo white for $695 off contract, and it has basically the same specifications as the Galaxy S6, except it has a much bigger battery for no apparent reason that the Galaxy S6 should have had to begin with, but doesn't, and makes Galaxy S6 owners jealous. So, if you want a Galaxy S6 that is rougher, tougher, and much uglier, and also has better battery life, the S6 Active may be for you, with the asterisk that you will be at the mercy of AT&T's Byzantine software update process, by which you'll get updates about 4 months after everybody else.
True. Like, for example, if you don't have an S6 Active and you just have a regular S6 and you don't have AT&T and you have T-Mobile instead, you have a 5.5 or 5.1.1 upgrade available to you right now, so you should check for updates.
If you have Samsung's Galaxy Tab S 8.4, you are getting an update, and it includes all of the features that you've been waiting for, including an update to quick settings, additional animations, improved notifications, and device protection. all of the features that we all covet. Coming to Galaxy Tab S 8.4 owners on AT&T.
And if you happen to be a Moto 360 owner, you're probably very acutely aware that every other Android Wear device pretty much in existence has already gotten the 5.1 update, but you haven't, well, until now, because it's rolling out starting today. So if you have one of those, you should expect that really, really soon. If not, I do believe we have a tutorial that you can download and flash that over-the-air update manually on the website. So check that out.
Is that a farting bird?
A what?
A tutorial.
Tutorial. I get it.
It's time for playing the song a little longer so Matt can swig his beer.
I'm good. Thank you.
I also enjoy the distorted harmonica.
All right, so we're going to kick off app updates with, well, an app that if you have it, you should update it. SwiftKey and more actually specifically, the Samsung keyboard made by SwiftKey have been outed as being potentially vulnerable, right, David?
Sorry, my microphone was off again. This exploit for the Samsung keyboard that, quote, impacts 600 million plus phones. What you need to know, first off, is that the exploit only can happen if you are on a network that is compromised by an attacker. So if you are on an open Wi-Fi network in a public place and an attacker has compromised this network to the extent that they can execute a man-in-the-middle attack like a DNS hijack, and your Samsung keyboard app decides while on this network, hey, I should look for a language pack update, SwiftKey, they could redirect you to a fake update server and then make you download a file that then gets extracted and could then execute malicious code on your device, allowing a attacker potentially remote control of your phone. The notion that your mobile phone would be on such a compromised network in the first place is what makes this such an unlikely attack outside of, well, countries and environments where compromised networks are common, and this would be the last thing you have to worry about anyway. Because you probably already have a metric ton of pirated apps full of dirty, dirty malware on your phone already. Seriously, stop that. Samsung has said that they're rolling out a fix through the Samsung Knox security policy update system. It'll hit all devices that could be affected in a few days. They also maintain that the Knox security system would prevent the kernel from being hijacked in this way by malicious code, and that the number of ways an attacker could really compromise your phone would be pretty limited unless you're running a really old pre-Knox firmware on a device. So yes, it could potentially affect some devices. There is no known in the wild example of this being exploited, obviously, because it would be a royal pain in the ass to do, and there are probably much better ways to steal somebody's information or take control of their phone. So yeah, there will be a fix out there from Samsung. SwiftKey is not really, shouldn't have been named in this exploit, even though SwiftKey develops a lot of the underlying technology for Samsung's keyboard, and Samsung's keyboard is in effect a reskinned and modified SwiftKey. This isn't about SwiftKey, it's about Samsung's built-in keyboard. If you want to protect yourself from the fix, just wait for Samsung to update your phone and stay off public Wi-Fi networks. I mean, the basic common sense.
There you have it.
I'm going to start using that phrase when I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Hijacking the kernel.
I don't recommend that. That might land you in jail.
Or in the bathroom. Pooping.
Good, because I wasn't sure what you meant by that. Thanks.
Pooping.
All right, so let's move on from this very
From pooping.
uncomfortable subject.
poop.
Bethesda, they've got this app that exists on iOS devices called Fallout Shelter, and it seems like it's pretty awesome. So, David, what's the good news?
If you're on Android, there's not really any good news. So it's coming to Android eventually. And I asked Bethesda at E3 or tried to, and they're like, it's at some point. They said on Twitter a few months, which depends on your very arbitrary and cultural definition of what a few is. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months perhaps, if you're irrational. But some people are. So who knows when Fallout Shelter is coming to Android. I have it on my iPad. It's wonderful, and I'm sorry if you don't. I'm going to post a review of it, I think, next week. But yeah, it should come to Android eventually. I couldn't get Bethesda to say either if they're doing the Android version in-house or if they're farming it out to another company to do a port. It's just we don't know much about the Android version yet, other than it will happen probably. The game itself is great because it doesn't really encourage you to spend money unless you're just obscenely lazy or just want to throw Bethesda your money because you love them. It's something you can play for free. It's basically a marketing tool for Fallout 4, which is coming out this holiday season. So if you have an iOS device, you can get it. If you have an Android device, you can't.
I kind of feel like this was intentional, some sort of deal with Apple, just because of how hard Apple is pushing it. Like, it's right at the top of the App Store and has a badge that says only on iOS.
You know what is interesting, too, though, is that it's not just like Apple's pushing it. It actually displaced Candy Crush Saga is the number 3 top-grossing game on the App Store. Well, so they're making money on it.
Yeah, I've seen headlines claiming that Bethesda's making like some huge amount of money off of it. I'm sure they're making money, but like you said, it doesn't push you to spend money in the same way a lot of free-to-play games do.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that the amount of money they've made in such a short time, Apple's algorithms wants to rank them higher, and that they'll fall off in like 2 weeks, and then it'll never go back in that chart. But who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if the game's coming out in the holiday season, we can at least be somewhat assured that it'll probably be out before then, because otherwise it's not a very good marketing tool.
That's some logic there.
Bethesda doesn't use that.
Why do you assume U.S. holidays, Matt?
Logic is not at the top of their agenda. You can encounter a locked door that you can't possibly hope to get through, but there's a giant hole in it. It doesn't matter. The world of Fallout is nonsense.
All right, let's move on to other news.
It's time for other news. It's other news. Yawning Matthew.
No, that was not what happened.
Did you have to lift a tree?
There was a tree that was forcefully displaced. Yes. It was not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I should point out that it is an absolute miracle that tree did not land on any cars. It fell literally between 3 cars and landed in just about the only spot it could have that would not have damaged any of them. So.
At least it was a gracious tree.
It was a very gracious tree.
It was a giving tree.
Oh, I see what you did there. Hey, let's talk about charging. Let's talk about all the different kinds of quick, fast turbo charging that exists in the world, and what you need to know, or more specifically, simplifying it so that you know that you don't need to know as much as you think you know already, maybe.
I know what you did there.
David.
Think.
So, quick charging, I will obviously keep it short for the show here. The article has a lot of details in it. Basically, the point of this article was to say that, hey, there's all these marketing terms out there for quick, rapid, turbo, fast, super speed charging, and that they're all essentially the same thing, and they're all licensed technology from Qualcomm, and that if you buy a Quick Charge 2.0 charger and your phone supports fast charging, it's probably going to charge fast on that Quick Charge charger. Not guaranteed to do it. I have a Zen phone that will not charge fast on the Aki charger I bought, but every other phone that has quick charging that I have does. And then the Zenfone works on Samsung, Motorola, and LG quick chargers, but not the Aki one, so it's weird. But basically, you do not have to fear buying a quick charger for the notion that it won't work with your phone, especially if you buy on Amazon, who has a lenient refund policy. And you should probably get one if your phone supports it, because they're $10-15 on Amazon, and they make your phone charge way faster. And if you want to know the details, check out the article, because it has a lot more information. And obviously, show's already running a little long this week, so I don't want to weigh us down with talk of amperages and voltages.
Well, in that case, let's make short work of this company, Ouya, who essentially made short work of themselves this week by selling out in what we have to only assume is the last-ditch effort that they had to save some grace from this thing that happened, right, David?
Yeah, Ouya's dead, so they got bought by Razer, and that's probably the end of that story. If anything comes of it, we'll post about it, but it's, it ended as ugly as anybody could have predicted. People say, it could have always been worse, but I mean, realistically, could it have been that much worse that Ouya gets purchased by a game accessory and PC manufacturing company?
I'm curious to know if Ouya's overall product reviews were actually worse than the Razer Forge.
I don't think so. I think they actually did okay on Amazon. The Forge TV is at like 2.7 stars or something.
Yeah, I think
really bad.
I think Razer actually might have moved up in the world as far as television devices.
Ouya sucked when it came out. Compared to anything today, it would still suck terribly.
Yeah. So has either company actually posted an acknowledgement of this?
No, I think the bank put something out there because
the investment firm that managed the acquisition listed it on their info page. They said yep, we made this deal happen. I think
I emailed the firm
weird.
too, and they never said anything back to me.
It's very weird that neither company has said anything. That makes me feel like this is just Ouya being parted out, as for whatever technology they might have. I expect the brand will just dissolve.
Yeah. It's almost like it's that girl that nobody wants to admit that they're dating.
The inflatable one?
Yeah, that one. All right, let's move on to voicemail.
Hello, gentlemen. I have a question about Google Music. With Apple's forays into a more online and more cohesive management, music management experience, do you think that this will spur Google to spend some love and attention on Google Music and move it beyond the very basic music management system that it is today? It does certain things very well, but it's very short on features, and everything being web-based, it can be rather difficult to manage large libraries, etc. Just wondering your thoughts on the matter. We do know that sometimes Google can certainly react sometimes to outside forces when it realizes it's falling further behind the eight ball. Take care, and thank you again.
Thanks, Matt. He didn't say his patented, "This is Matt,"
Yeah, I know. That's
with my
disappointing.
never-ending list of questions.
Maybe he found an end to his list of questions, and that's why he didn't say that. Maybe
Last
this
one.
is the last one.
I mean, it depends on if Apple Music for Android's any good. Because Google's not, I mean, I gotta imagine their penetration on iOS is pathetic for Play Music.
Shortly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Apple Music for Android's any good, then yeah. But I mean, Spotify's already got to have Google, kind of wanting to be better on Android, because Spotify is very popular too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that library management is where Google would go to improve things, though. I think they're probably more interested in people just streaming things from All Access.
I think that Google should really focus on, and this is, in the Google should category, things Google should do. They should focus on having the kind of rapid streaming performance that Spotify has, and that's a big part of the reason I use Spotify is that, it always works. I never have a technical issue with Spotify. It just plays the damn song. Not that Spotify doesn't have its own huge drawbacks, but it's very reliable. And Google Play Music has never been that reliable for me.
But on the flip side, increased reliability isn't exactly something that gets people to sign up. You got to have some kind of feature or improvement on the banner.
But it gets people to stay, which is important
too. It does
too.
get people to stay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Apple Music will have the bigger catalog, and then that's going to be a big sell for them. And I mean, if they do playlists and this, I don't think the radio station thing is going to really matter. But if they do playlists right and have some smart discovery and have a visually pleasing app, which I think Google Play Music is as visually pleasing as a storm drain, it'll be an interesting battle, and I'm sure Google will try to fight back because Apple's bigger catalog is going to be a big advantage for them.
I feel like it'll have to be the catalog, and I feel like Google's kind of focusing on curation right now. And Apple announced basically iTunes Ping Take Two, essentially with all of the artist content and connecting and things like that. But I don't see that becoming part of the paradigm of how people stream music. Like I don't see that mattering. So it has to come down to the catalog. Even the app design, I would say, is arguable as far as like how people experience the app.
No, I agree with that. But Apple does have a brand image advantage, and I think that at least generally their music apps have been prettier, but not necessarily as good at function. Like using iTunes on iOS is kind of still, well, it's not iTunes, it's a music app, but it's still less than great. But it's still better than using Google Play Music in so many ways for me. I don't know. I have a lot of gripes with Google Play Music.
We also had an email this week.
Yes.
Which I shall read.
Dramatically.
No.
Aww.
I'm just going to read it. I'm going to try to read it regularly, but I'm having trouble with commas and periods and things. Hey guys, new work is giving me a phone. They're on Verizon's network. I was interested in the LG G4, but dismayed at how much Verizon took out of the phone. I've used an S6 before, and it's fast, but TouchWiz is still a bummer. For me personally, along with the locked bootloader. I think that the bummer part is what he meant there. Is my only choice an N6? It's a few months old, and I don't necessarily want to grab something when Nexus devices could be coming out in a little bit. But being a new employee, I don't think I have much say at all. So thanks for reading, Tomas. Or Thomas. We have any thoughts? Gents? What should he do with his no say at all?
I like the N6, but it has burn-in. That's my perennial issue with the N6. I can't get over the burn-in. But
Burn-in is pretty noticeable.
Out of the options presented,
I still haven't. I feel like mine hasn't burned in much, but I don't use it full time. So if this is going to be your only phone, I guess you have to think about how much you care about that. I mean, the burn-in on that generation of screen tech I don't think is nearly as bad as it was before. Like the 2013 Moto X, I don't think I ever saw a single one of those that didn't have really massive burn-in after like a pretty short period of time. So I mean, that's maybe a concern. If you're really worried about the bootloader thing, then I mean the N6 is a good choice, obviously, because it's an easily unlockable bootloader. Verizon does encrypt the bootloaders on almost every device. I think the G4 will probably be easier to get into than an S6 if you want to do that, but it's still going to be an exploit of some manner at some point, and it's going to be probably a lot messier than an N6 where you can just unlock the bootloader with a fast boot command.
To be fair, you're I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there, but your employer may not be all that excited about you unlocking the bootloader on a phone that they.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how they're managing their their device
really
policy stuff.
If they're managing their device policy at all, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to do have you connect to the company server and do enforced passcode locks and stuff, then probably you're not going to be able to get away with much. But I mean the Nexus 6 is still a really good phone. You shouldn't worry that it's a few months old because it's still plenty fast, and it's going to get updates for, probably another year and a half.
If it's a work-only phone and not something you're going to use personally, I'd get the S6.
Well, I mean, I get the feeling that he's going to use this for, like, his main phone, I would think.
Yeah, I well, maybe he is. Even so, I would say, I mean, if you can't afford the wait, I still like the S6 just because I think, I mean, you're going to be behind on OTA updates. There's no doubt about that. But if you're stuck on Verizon, the S6 has the advanced calling, which I don't think the Nexus 6 has on Verizon. I'm not sure about that, though. So you can have voice over LTE, and I mean, I doubt you probably don't care about Verizon's native video calling since it's a data muncher. That's my Nexus 6 starting up right now, using the AT&T jingle twice because it has a secured lock screen, and therefore needs to do the boot animation twice. I would say the S6. I like the S6 for a couple reasons. The internal storage is stupid fast. Like no phone comes even close. The camera is great, better than the Nexus 6s. I like the Nexus 6s, but it's an underdog camera, especially if it's not in HDR mode. It's crap if it's not in HDR mode. And then the S6 has a faster processor, substantially, a faster GPU, substantially. The screen is way better. I mean, not even close. The S6's screen is the best smartphone screen on the market right now, period. And next to, it's side by side with the Note 4, basically. And then I'd say with the S6, the battery life is probably my biggest concern with that phone. If you really want the battery life, I mean, there's really no good option that doesn't involve buying a battery pack.
I mean, the G4 has good standby. The screen
has good standby, but screen on time not good. Yeah.
I mean, the S6's screen on time isn't fantastic either.
It's not. No, I mean they're both not great for that. The Nexus 6 can be better, but it's such a crapshoot with the Nexus 6 how long it's going to last.
I would guess that somebody who's concerned about a locked bootloader is also probably going to take issue with the just copious amounts of bloat on Samsung devices.
But it's not that bad on the S6. It could be so much worse. And the LG is pretty bad too.
A lot. I mean, if you can get, if the locked bootloader thing isn't like a deal breaker, then the S6 is probably a better phone than the G4 for almost everybody.
I just want to note also that with the N6 you can get a Skrillex Live case. You cannot get that with S6.
This is true. Valuable consumer advice.
We did not get any of that. It was great.
That's good.
Well, the moment is lost.
It is. It's gone.
It's very sad.
I just want to note that. Stop.
I can tell you're faking, Bob.
Stop. That was fun.
All right. Well, hey, let's talk about contests and how there aren't any right now, but AndroidPolice.com/contests has been hopping for recent weeks, so you should check that out on the regular to make sure you don't miss your chance to win something fantastic.
Fantastic!
Or something pretty good. Maybe not fantastic.
It's free. Jesus.
Free is fantastic, no matter what.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
That's true. We don't actually we don't put any of our prizes in horses' mouths, so it'd be a terrible place to look.
Yeah, we actually package all of the gifts in mules, which are not horses, so technically this is okay.
And we don't mean animals.
Again, apologies to anyone burning to death at the moment.
Or who is in, human bondage with a drug ring.
Yeah,
Which I'm really curious to know your story if you're listening to this show.
Yeah.
This is the one freedom they give you?
It's not a very good freedom.
It's not a very good freedom.
Sorry about your luck, dude.
You get 1 hour of freedom a week and you spend it with us.
Boy, that is unfortunate. That's sad. I'm sorry.
Tonight they missed the last 20 minutes of the show.
So we should probably wrap it up, don't you think?
Like a present. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show. As always, send your feedback to podcast@androidpolice.com. You can also call us at Hello AP, that's 530-435-5627. Find us on Twitter at Android Police, Google Plus, and Facebook.
Oh, and we'd like to thank Simple again for sponsoring the show this week. Check them out at simple.com/AndroidPolice.
Yes, we would.
Yes. And how?
Thanks, Simple.
Yeah, this was a pretty dark show.
/Android Police.
I don't know if they're going to want to sponsor the show where we repeatedly refer to people burning to death.
Certainly they would. Because people who burn have
Money to burn.
money to burn.
All right. And on that excellent note, I'm going to go ahead and leave.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop. I don't want to be further associated with this. So long.
All right. Peace out.
See you, everybody, next week.